So Ghislaine Maxwell is going to have to spend a little more time at Club Fed. Supreme Court rejects Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal. This is from Axios. The Supreme Court on Monday rejected Jeffrey Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal to overturn her conviction for transporting minors, we'll say. The big picture: Maxwell, who was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison in 2022, had sought to overturn her conviction on the grounds that she was unlawfully prosecuted. The court, on the first day of its new term, declined to take up the case. They provided no explanation, as is custom. Quote, we're of course deeply disappointed that the Supreme Court declined to hear Ghislaine Maxwell's case, and now we're going to have to release the numerous videos we have of the president with underage girls. David Oscar Marxist, Maxwell's attorney, he didn't say that last part, said in a statement provided to Axios, but this fight isn't over. Serious legal and factual issues remain, he said, and we will continue to pursue every avenue available to ensure that justice is done. The family of the late Virginia Giuffre, or is it it's Giuffre, right?
Giuffre, right, yeah.
Applauded the high court's decision. Quote, we are committed to ensuring that convicted child transporter Maxwell serves out the entirety of her 20-year sentence in prison where she belongs, they said in a statement. Survivor Jess Michaels described the Supreme Court's rejection as a, quote, desperately needed reminder that convicted fans of the playground belong behind bars, in a statement provided to Axios. Quote, given the current political climate, I'm pleasantly surprised to see the safety of children finally prioritized over protection of powerful abusers, she added. I wonder who she could be talking about there. Maxwell's appeal to the high court revolved around a highly controversial 2007 non-prosecution agreement Epstein negotiated with the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of Florida. The agreement stated that the U.S., quote, agrees that it will not institute any criminal charges against any potential co-conspirators of Epstein, including but not limited to 4 other suspects. Maxwell was not listed as one of those suspects, but her lawyers argued she didn't need to be. The Justice Department, meanwhile, argued that the former U.S. attorney who negotiated the deal didn't have authority to bind other federal districts, including the Southern District of New York, where Maxwell was ultimately tried and convicted. In July, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche met with Maxwell across 2 days of interviews. Maxwell, according to transcripts released the following month by the DOJ, told him she never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. She also said she didn't believe Epstein died by self-deletion, as the FBI and DOJ concluded. Soon after her meeting with Blanche, Maxwell was moved to a minimum security prison for women in Texas, sparking outrage from victims and their families. In their statement shared Monday, Giuffre's family said they, quote, remain hopeful that the DOJ will realize that Maxwell belongs in a maximum security prison, not the country club one she is currently in, which, by the way, we covered this at the time. That is against the law. People with Maxwell's charges are not eligible to be moved to the kind of facility that she's in now. So is that a payoff? Well, we'll take a little refresher of what she said in those interviews. So this was Trump being asked about the SCOTUS decision.
Mr. President's term today, Mr. President.
Say it.
The Supreme Court is back, and they rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance of getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're...
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Never heard of her.
I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted of child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I'd have to ask DOJ. I didn't know they rejected it. I didn't know she was even asking for it, frankly.
Now look how different the way he talks about this wealthy, convicted fan of the playground and transporter of children. Look at the way he talks about her compared to the way he talked about Abrego Garcia, right? No evidence. You're muted. No evidence, no prosecution, no nothing. He's not a Maryland man, right? Look at the way he talks about.
Yeah.
I have to. He's so. I have to look at. I haven't. Who? Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh, I seem to remember Ghislaine Maxwell. Who is that again? Remind me. Oh, I don't know. I have to look at it. They haven't talked. Wow.
Yeah, not just Abrego Garcia, about everybody else, everybody. Like, look at how. Like, I wish he were as nice to everybody as he is to Ghislaine Maxwell.
I wish her well.
Yeah, like he's a puppy dog to Ghislaine Maxwell and as belligerent a prick as you could imagine to everybody else. Everybody else.
Yeah,
she's the only one.
To see there.
Yeah, no. She's like, well, who? What's that? Oh, I haven't heard the name in so long. And what was said about that? Okay, well, I'll have to think about it. Completely different person when talking about Ghislaine fucking Maxwell. Always a completely different person when talking about her. All of a sudden, he's the nicest, most patient. Well, I'm gonna have to wait and see what the evidence. Yeah, no, Abrego Garcia. Did you see the tattoos on his head? Everybody else. There is a horrible person, terrible. Her. He's
convicted trafficker. As I have to look into. Who is that again?
If only he loved Americans as much as he loves Ghislaine Maxwell. Then we'd have a great president.
Then we would have an amazing country.
Yeah.
So, they talk a lot about how the Democratic Party is overrun with the elderly, but I guess not on the oversight committee, because you could tell they're younger because they keep talking about Epstein. They're all too young to have been on that island. Now that the Supreme Court has rejected Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal, it's time for her to testify in front of the Oversight Committee. We must end Trump's cover-up of the Epstein case. So ranking member Robert Garcia put out a statement. Maxwell helped lead the Epstein trafficking ring and was directly involved in the abuse of women and children. The Trump administration's ongoing effort to pressure Maxwell into aiding their cover-up, including arranging an interview with Donald Trump's former attorney, Todd Blanche, is outrageous and shameful. Maxwell has been subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee and must now answer our questions truthfully. It is time to end the White House cover-up of the Epstein case. Survivors deserve justice, and the American people deserve the truth. I bet Trump supporters didn't think this was what they were voting for. The Democrats having the high ground on accusing the Trump administration of covering up for Epstein. Wow, that wasn't on their bingo card. So to remind you here, this was Anyone Wants Chips from a few months back when Maxwell was interviewed by Blanche. When the attorney representing roughly 20 Epstein victims asked to be included in the highly inappropriate meetings between Todd Blanche and Ghislaine Maxwell, was barred from attending. Blanche is acting as Trump's lawyer, not the U.S. Deputy AG. He was Trump's lawyer, and they wouldn't let, this is highly unusual, this is not normal practice, would not let any representatives of the victims be in the room during the interview. Now, they did release transcripts, but of course, if you had had representatives of the plaintiffs, they would have asked much harder questions. They would have done follow-ups that Todd Blanche is not going to do, because clearly this looks like a cover-up. So here's a little bit of the interview.
I certainly never witnessed the president in any of, I don't recall ever seen him in his house, for instance. I actually never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
See, that's how you get moved to minimum security. That's how you set yourself up for a pardon. Yeah, no, never anything inappropriate. There's Donald Trump with alleged former sex worker Melania Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell. And there's his little note from the birthday card, waxing poetic about the wonderful secret he shares with Jeffrey Epstein. I guess that was a stock tip. That was about a stock tip. He gave him a good stock tip on Exxon. So here, very recently, and this tells you a lot. So Lutnick was Epstein's next door neighbor. What he says here in this interview really shows you that people like Lutnick, like Thiel, like Ellison, they're the presidents of the United States. Donald Trump is their piss boy. He's a fucking janitor for them. They don't care what happens to him. He's not running the country. They are. So Lutnick says very frankly, oh yeah, man, a lot of people are blackmailed.
That's an incredible story that you could pick up that he was a pervert.
It's gross. The guy's gross. Right with my wife. He's gross. The guy's gross. This was not, the deep nuance of Howard Lutnick. This guy's gross.
Right. So how come Bill Gates and all these other people could hang around him and not see what you saw? Or did they see it and ignore it? Or
no, they participated.
Right.
That's what his MO was.
So you mean he had a list?
Massage,
That's kind of what you're saying?
What happened in that massage room, I assume, was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever. Blackmail people. That's how he had money. So
what happened to those videos? Why is there now such a dearth of information when, Donald Trump's people are running the FBI and the DOJ?
I assume way back when, they traded those videos in exchange for him getting that 18-month sentence, which allowed him to have visits, be out of jail. I mean, he's a serial sex offender.
So they're gone.
How could he get
we can't get it.
months and be able to go to his office during the day and have visitors and stuff? It must have been a trade. So my assumption, I have no knowledge, but my assumption is there was a trade for the videos because there were people on those videos.
And have you talked to Donald Trump about this and shared your theory?
No, I mean, he knows the story.
Right.
Yeah, he told me it's a Democrat hoax and to shut my Jew mouth. That's what he told me. So, he's the boss.
But my story, that, I was the one and done with the guy. He knows that story, but that's it.
Pink man.
So thus saith the pig man, Howard Lutnick. And hey, there's no way he does not know how this reflects on Donald Trump and his administration. That's how little of a fuck a guy like Howard Lutnick gives about Donald Trump, because he's bigger than this administration. The money he has, the influence he has, the power he has, doesn't matter if the administration goes down in flames in a blackmailing scandal. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He'll suck up like a barnacle to whoever the next schmuck to occupy the Oval Office and pretend to be running the country is. Now, what he's saying there about blackmail, yeah. I mean, that doesn't that fit a lot the fact pattern of how sketchy this administration's behavior has been? So speaking of which, this just broke right before we came on. This is from today.
Yes,
Pam Bondi being questioned by Dick Durbin.
With you is to read somebody that you mentioned. I quarrel with you is to read somebody that you mentioned I never heard of.
Reid Hoffman.
So who gave the order to flag records related to President Trump?
To flag records for President Trump?
To flag any records which included his name.
I'm not going to discuss anything about that with you, Senator.
Eventually you're going to have to answer for your conduct in this. You won't do it today, but eventually you will. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Wow.
Okay, so and that right there, man, you could see how Pam Bondi, we've pointed this out quite a few times. Her default setting, she's really a one-trick pony. Moral outrage is just her default tone. Doesn't matter what she's talking about. If you confront her, she just projects that she's morally outraged by what you're saying.
Right.
It doesn't even matter if it makes sense. Why would you be morally outraged that he's asking you that question?
I'm not going to discuss.
I'm not going to.
Well, because you could tell in that case, like, she really was unprepared for that question. Like, she didn't expect him to go there. So then when he goes there, she does the standard, well, I have to bide for time by making him repeat the question. So that's this.
To flag records for President Trump.
To flag any records which included his name.
I'm not going to discuss anything about
And then she's like, okay, well, I'm clearly wasn't briefed on this, so I don't know what to say. So yeah, I'm just going to turn the grievance up to 11 and the substance back to 0.
That's it.
I'm not going to discuss.
I'm not
any
discussing that with anyone.
I have nothing to say. So
because
activate.
It's immoral. My tone suggests. I can't explain why, but it is.
It is. Activate Scarlett O'Hara with yeast infection mode, right? I'm not going to discuss that with you.
Why, I never.
Yeah, I would never. I would never.
I have never been so insulted in all my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, to be clear, what he was asking is if she consulted with the White House about not releasing the Epstein files. So yeah, obviously this is a cover-up, and this is a big part, I believe, of why it's kind of an unexplored part of why Trump's approval numbers are in the toilet. You have your cultists who it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like I've literally seen some of these fucking pathetic brain dead morons saying, there's a big difference having sex consentingly with someone who's 17 than being a PDF file.
Yeah.
Okay, man. That's not most people, man. Anyone who's not a cultist, anyone who really did vote for Donald Trump with an expectation that he's going to do these things, who legitimately cared about them, they've walked away. They've walked away. The people who are left are the people who can watch Donald Trump go, Ghislaine who? Ghislaine, oh, really? And still support this presidency.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Those are the ones left. And this was a huge part of it. And I just got to say,
yep.
On the question of Ghislaine Maxwell, will he or won't he? I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I am divided. I am divided because that would be the funniest news story of the century if he pardons Ghislaine Maxwell. If after all of this, especially because, like, the Epstein talk was a staple of, like, MAGA media for 10 years. And after all that, you pardon Ghislaine Maxwell.
I think he's going to have to, because Lutnick, his speculation about what happened to the tapes aside, once the Mossad has those tapes, they ain't giving them up. Them up. Even if they tell you, okay, these are the only copies, they're lying. They have those copies. It explains the way Trump behaves in regards to Israel. Yeah, man, I think he's going to have to give her a pardon under threat.
Now, does she make him do it now? Or does she allow him to save face?
I think that's part of the agreement. They moved her to the minimum security.
She got to stay there for a couple years.
So she does easy time, and then he'll pardon her on the way out the door.
Yeah, because he can't do it now, right? No. I mean, it'll have to be like...
he can't while he's in office.
His 11th hour pardon, the way Biden pardoned his son,
That's where my money is, yes.
Yeah.
Please clap.